Imagine that starting next year, humans evolve one new feature. Every year, around late November, your body automatically shuts down. Not the kind of sleeping in you do on weekends. Real hibernation. You eat like crazy for 2 weeks. Your body packs on fat, your heart slows down, your core temperature drops, your brain shifts into low power mode. And then you just lie down. You sleep straight through Black Friday, through Christmas, through New Year, through the entire winter. And in March, you wake up completely refreshed, having successfully skipped the worst 3 months of the year, like a Netflix show that takes too long to get good. Sounds like the perfect software update for humanity, right? Wrong. Because if this actually happened, the first thing to disappear wouldn't be winter. It would be almost everything holding modern civilization together. Hibernation sounds like paradise, until you ask one very simple question. Who actually gets to sleep? Before we go further, one thing needs to be clear. True hibernation is a biological extreme. Heart rate drops to around 8 beats per minute. Core body temperature falls close to 0 degrees Celsius. Metabolism shuts down to survival mode. Plenty of species do this. Humans cannot. Because with our massive, energy-hungry brains, evolution took a different path. Fire, clothing, shelter, central heating, food storage. We didn't beat winter with our bodies. We beat it with civilization. And that's exactly what makes this so interesting. Because if the human body ever solved winter on its own, the civilization we built to fight winter would suddenly become obsolete. On a personal level, hibernation is an insane deal. Slower biological aging, fewer metabolic diseases, no winter burnout. You just skip it. And that's exactly when things start getting dangerous. If 8 billion people vanish from economic life for 3 to 4 months every year, the question isn't, will we be healthier? The question is, who farms the food? Who fixes the power grid? Who keeps the hospitals open? Who runs cargo ships, air traffic control, data centers, national power infrastructure? You can sleep through winter, but the infrastructure doesn't get to sleep. First, the entire holiday economy. Black Friday only exists because hundreds of millions of people are awake, clicking Add to Cart at 1 a.m. for a 40% discount. If humanity shuts down in late November, Black Friday isn't a shopping holiday anymore. It's a graveyard of promotional emails with 0 opens. Gone. Next, winter caffeine culture. Starbucks didn't build a seasonal empire by selling coffee. They sell the feeling of surviving cold, dark, deadlines, and holiday stress. A pumpkin spice latte means nothing if your customer base is lying motionless in a low-temperature pod from November to March. Howard Schultz stares at Q4 and sees a void. Gone. NBA, NFL, all winter sports. Madison Square Garden is empty in December. The Super Bowl gets moved to April. ESPN broadcasts an all-robot league because no human athletes are awake to play. It's not gone, there's no one left to watch. Gym January. New Year, New Me runs on a very specific cycle. Overeat through the holidays, hate yourself in January, sign up for the gym, quit by the 22nd. But if you sleep straight through the holiday eating, the guilt, and the resolution, January stops being the month of redemption. Planet Fitness loses a seasonal ritual they've been cashing in on for years. Gone. And here's the part that should actually scare you. Everything I just listed, that's all secondary. The real problem is the things that aren't allowed to disappear. Here's the question nobody asks up front. Who doesn't get to hibernate? ER doctors, power grid operators, water treatment plant workers, air traffic controllers, infrastructure maintenance workers. The people that, if they stop, millions of others don't wake up safely in March. And here's the darkest part. They don't volunteer. And so humanity splits into 2 new classes. Not rich and poor in the old sense, but the sleepers and the wakers. The wealthy hibernate in private suites, nurses monitoring their vitals every hour, waking up to an organic smoothie waiting on the table. Everyone else? Assigned to the winter shift. Awake for 4 months in the coldest, darkest stretch of the year, keeping the lights on for people sleeping in luxury. Inequality is no longer about who has the bigger house or the better vacation. It's about who gets to skip winter and who has to endure it on behalf of everyone else. And suddenly, hibernation is no longer a biological advantage. It becomes a privilege. But not everything goes dark. Some things just become different. The economy shifts, not collapses. 9 awake months get compressed, intense, relentless. The whole world lives like it's sprinting before a November deadline. Love changes too. No more staying together out of convenience. If you disappear for a few months every year, every reunion becomes a test. Who still waited? Who still chose you? And spring becomes the biggest holiday of the year. Not Christmas, not Thanksgiving. The first day an entire city wakes up together. Times Square, March 1st. 8 million people step outside at the same time, look at each other, and don't know what to say. DoorDash crashes because 8 million orders hit the server simultaneously. And everyone checks their phone with one single question in their head. What happened while I was out? Okay, quick recap. Hibernation sounds like the perfect human upgrade. Less exhaustion, less winter, slower biological wear. But in exchange, it wipes out a chunk of the modern economy, forces society to choose who gets to sleep and who has to stay awake, and turns inequality into something colder than winter itself. And maybe that's the most interesting part of this whole thought experiment. The thing that saves individuals might be the thing that breaks the collective. So the final question isn't, would hibernation be amazing? It's, can a civilization still call itself fair if the right to disappear for a few months a year doesn't belong to everyone? If humanity evolved that way tomorrow, would you choose to be a sleeper or a waker? Drop your answer in the comments and tell me why.